Good evening. Let me make sure that I am live before I start waffling. I think I am. Good. Hi everyone. Hope you're well. Today's video, an obvious live. Hello. Gonna talk a bit more about altcoins regarding, is it the time to buy? Is it not the time to buy? Is it, what can we look at? What's good for fundamentals? What's bad? Yeah, we'll look at a few little things. There's a lot to go through. Because I thought, why not? You know, a bit of fun, a bit of banter. At the end of the day, we'll see what happens. But yeah, let me know what's happening. And yes, the market does suck balls right now. But at the end of the day, a sucking, horrible, disgusting, horrible, ugly market can present some nice opportunities potentially for some nice dollar cost averaging, or just to simply keep an eye on it. Set some awesome alerts that could well give you something. But we'll talk about Bitcoin, obviously. We'll talk about the dominance chart of that. We'll talk about the total two, and then we'll kind of just free for all. We'll look at some altcoins that look pretty decent, maybe some potential buy orders in terms of long term, because obviously this video will go out anyways. It's as archive, you know, it's quite a catchy title, maybe, who knows. We'll see what happens. Obviously YouTube algorithm's not too kind at the moment, so yeah, feel free to slap the like, subscribe, press the share button, do all kinds of good stuff, and we'll see what happens. But there's a lot of things to kind of talk about, because for me, when you look at Bitcoin as an example here, it's ropey. Like, it's indecision central. Like, even today's candle, is like, ugh. It's like so indecisive. It's pretty much a neutral candle. It's not ideal at all. It's starting to show signs of consolidation anyways because of this range. But realistically for me, that grey box where the arrow is, that's like the key. This is wishful thinking, wanting it to bounce and send it above this previous kind of level. And yeah, we've dipped in and out of this range a little bit, but realistically we've been in it for like, what, 3 weeks now, give or take? Well, just under 3 weeks. It's not ideal. But yeah, hi everyone. Welcomes to the world. Ooh, I don't know. I don't actually hold chilies. But yeah, there's a lot of things happening. There's a lot of things. Overall, in terms of fundamentals of the market, it's actually okay. Like, it's just price action. I think what's happened is the same old situation on any market is it goes up, people take profit, new people get found out, they shit themselves, they sell, and obviously snowball effect. Obviously the slippage, the liquidation, stop losses, activations, it makes people then not believe, and then they want to sell. That's why we've probably been hovering here, accumulation phase technically, and people trying to get out as well. There's a lot of people that are realistically killing it, you know, in the trading side of it, but we'll see what happens. Anywho, feel free to jump in, comment section, write a few stuffs. But yeah, I'm really heavy in crypto. I'm heavy in stable coins as well. Like, I won't realistically, because I don't see the point of going out of crypto. If I'm in Bitcoin or Ethereum or Polkadot, whatever, right, I will always put, you know, it's very rare that I go from crypto into fiat technically, unless I'm paying off a debt. That's essentially how I work anyway. So most of the time I use stable currency. I leverage that, because say for example 50 grand, right, I'll take $50,000 out or whatever, put it out into my bank, and then reintroducing it into the market. It's not the easiest thing in the world, especially with the banking regulations, and a bit iffy, certainly in my country. So I like to just leave it in the market, and then I can use it very, very quickly, and then go from there essentially. But we'll see how it goes realistically. But yeah, Tank, you're right about the short. I think there will be a short squeeze coming up soon. I'm just so indecisive regarding Bitcoin. I think once Bitcoin breaks out of this consolidation region, I think we'll know exactly what's going to happen. We need clear direction. We haven't got that yet. Once we're out one side or the other, we'll go from it. But either way, we just got to talk about a few things. So realistically, right, for me, if you have Bitcoin, the time now is to hold Bitcoin. And if you are looking at altcoins, wait for that dominance chart to basically do its magic. Now, what I'm saying and thinking anyways is I feel that we're going to, whatever happens, right, I think if Bitcoin rallies, people are going to jump ship off altcoins and sell into Bitcoin. This is going to go up. I also think if Bitcoin dumps, people will shit themselves and sell their altcoins at a loss or whatever, and therefore this will still go up anyway. So I think we're at a point where this has dropped so much, we're probably going to start seeing it rise up in towards this gap. Maybe go up to maybe 52%, maybe go up to 57%, maybe even higher, right? Therefore, you're probably going to get a lot of opportunity if you're holding a bit of Bitcoin to then buy essentially, you know, these massive drops, which could, like Bitcoin Cash could actually hit the floor again. You know, you got RV as an example. They've all like done this massive run up. I'll delete that. They may actually go and revisit stuff like this. So there's two ways of looking at this. You got obviously what altcoins to buy, do your fundamentals, and obviously look for the buy-in orders essentially to buy them. But just need to be patient. Look at the likes of BNB, for example. They've had huge run-ups, and here we've had a monster lower high. Guess what could happen here, boys and girls? This could absolutely melt. And if it does, let's just say, for example, it goes into where this previous consolidation band is. Well, you're just going to pick up a load of free BNB with some Bitcoin that you've been sat on. It doesn't matter about the USD price, essentially. But realistically, you know, that's one way of doing it. Obviously, if Bitcoin drops, you're going to be looking at USD side of it. You're going to be looking at your stable currency. So I've got stable currency. I've got Bitcoin. If Bitcoin dumps massively, realistically, I'm going to move that stable currency into Bitcoin, and then I'm going to use that Bitcoin to utilize some of these low orders, because eventually over time these will drop, especially if that dominance chart keeps dropping, keeps increasing. Obviously lower the dominance, the more these charts tend to go up. So it's going to be pretty crazy when you think about it that way. But there's a lot of altcoins out there that you'd probably look at, and you know, BNB is probably one of the examples you could probably look at. If you've got Bitcoin and you're holding on to it, you may be able to get some decent BNB for your Bitcoin, essentially, you know, in terms of bringing it a nice looking, lovely number, down 50% from even today if that happens. So that's one thing to look at, essentially. But, oh, hello, a lot of comments here, which is quite good. But yeah, dominance chart for me, I think it's going to go up. I think all of these have to correct. They've gone on monster runs. I mean, it's not just that. You know, let's just look at, well, Dogecoin. You know, that's crazy. Like, you know, if you don't know this, I shorted like 70 cents and shorted again not too long ago with the Coinbase news. It's very, very easy picking numbers if you understand how chart structure works. Obviously, you can see how this has dropped more in obviously USD because Bitcoin's obviously dropped. The likes of Polkadot, holding up not too bad realistically versus everything else. It's in like an old consolidation band. If you're looking at Polkadot and Ethereum, as you can see here, it's on the floor because the Ethereum dominance is actually really high right now. So actually right now, if you have Ethereum, it might be a good time to start buying up some assets with Ethereum right now, which is pretty scary. To think that this dominance could massively drop if Bitcoin dominance rises. Therefore, you can pick up some nice altcoins with some Ethereum profit and get more quantity. Then you can sell at the other side into the Ethereum pair again. Therefore, grow your Ethereum back. There's all kinds of ways of doing it. But we need to look at this, obviously. Again, we have this another, basically the trend has changed, the structure of the market has changed, and this is where it's getting interesting. Now, if you zoom out a little bit, we may well see some monstrous moves, and I covered this today in my video. If we're looking at this, we may see like, you know, a 28% drop essentially in BTC pairs. It's quite a lot for Ethereum realistically in terms of the BTC side of it. If you compound that with obviously USD, it's going to get rather ugly, and you're going to start seeing some pretty ugly states in terms of everything. But for me, I think that dominance chart is going to maybe indicate a potential reversal. Certainly in the Ethereum chart, it might have already turned a little bit. But when you look overall at this, it's been a monster. It's been an absolute monstrous run. And when you start like going back in time and looking at what Fibonacci's are saying, you could probably argue this level here, this extension level is actually telling us straight away that this is potentially the top for now, and it will retrace. If we are looking at the dominance chart alone and we're thinking, well, where can it go? Well, we may well actually find that, you know, it could actually go right into where this level is, where these previous levels of resistance have been, or just in and around where this point is. We may well see it go all the way back down to like 14 or maybe even lower than that. You know, don't rule anything out in this market. It's absolutely crazy. So what questions have we got? If you are new to this channel, make sure you do subscribe. It does help a lot. Am I staking anything? Yeah, staking Polkadot, stake Zilliqa. I stake on Swissborg. I've got yield on USDC, Bitcoin, and I've got some Tether on BlockFi as well. It's loads. I've got loads working for me at the moment. Stake a little bit of Swissborg as well, their tokens. So got a little bit going on the market, which isn't too bad realistically. But, you know, that's the thing in a bear market. If you can have something passive, it's not too bad, you know, realistically. But for me, if we're looking at altcoins, what to buy, we need to look at top solid assets. Now, the one thing to look at obviously is the top levels. You know, does it have a revenue? Does it have potential staking mechanism? Does it have a utility? Is it governed by hype or people? You know, realistically, you may look at Binance Coin and may think, well, if there is a bear market, how much will that price drop? Because the people will not be there anymore. For most people, it'll be very, very easy to do your KYC, get involved in the market again, nice and easy. There's no clogging, there's no blockages. Nice. The price will probably drop like a rocket. You know, it probably will drop like a stone, essentially, and that'll be quite funny. But realistically, they'd be the same for Dogecoin. That'll probably vanish and evaporate. There's all kinds of coins out there that you can look at. Realistically, what to buy, though, for 2021, you know, as much as it sounds pretty obvious, but if this market doesn't turn around, you've got to try and look at accumulation zones on a lot of these assets that you have done your research, you've done your full-on checks on it, and then you need to be patient. Look at those higher time frames, like the monthly time frames, the weeklies, and just find areas, whether it's on BTC pair, whether it's on USD pair, because the one shock that always shocks people, realistically, and it sounds dumb, these charts will drop like a rocket. They'll drop like a stone. It'll be a lead balloon. They will just fall. And people hate that. People hate that, certainly in a bear market. But we're not in a bear market yet. So I'm just trying to prepare people mentally that maybe the best time to buy altcoins is not right now. The best time is probably to do your research just in case. The one thing I will say, though, if we are looking to buy, wait for a clear and obvious direction. So it may flip over the next few weeks. Things might totally change. It might flip. The bias of Bitcoin may totally change, and we may well get this massive upside push to the, you know, up to this point and correction, and we continue going back up. Then you may start. So the reason why I say be a little bit cautious right now, and I mention this quite a lot in my tweets, if this does actually load once my internet goes back on. Come on. Am I back? Sorry, internet died. So yeah, the one thing to look at is obviously, if you're looking at the total 2 chart here, you know, we've had this monstrous run right the way up, right? It's obviously going to pull back. If this continues going up to the upside, well, you're laughing really, because then you can start looking at those altcoins again. I'm not 100% convinced this is going to just, you know, we may well go bearish for a little bit, realistically bearish for a little bit. But would I say a full-blown bear market? Depends on certain metrics. If on the weekly time frame we lose this moving average, I'll probably be conceding the fact that we may well be in a bear market. But when we start seeing the likes of the 5-day just hovering, you know, the sentiment's going to be changing. For me, I'm just waiting out. I've got stable currency, I've got Bitcoin, I've got my bags that I want to hold on to, and I've got the right numbers and the right metrics. But realistically, if the bear market does come, I'm going to be utilizing some assets there in the future. If it doesn't, I can then reintroduce the capital into the market at a safe point, which we do need to talk about, which could be quite fun. So what we got questions-wise, because we will talk about some coins, what we could look at. If you want me to look at stuff, let me know. And yeah, what's the story with ICP? Rumor has it, not financial or credible sources here, but what people, where has it gone? There it is. What people are saying, that there's potentially a lot of angel investors and early adopters and investments, like essentially, basically they've got tokens, they invested early, and what they're saying, and I don't know how true this is or if this has actually been validated and verified between wallets and stuff, but they're saying that a lot of people who bought in during this fundraise over the last few years, essentially, or last year or so, has been sold on the market. So that would indicate why the price has fallen. So as I say, this is kind of the biggest thing with token releases. This can happen it's quite a common thing. This isn't new to anyone. This is like very normal. This is why a lot of teams have like certain things in place to allow, you know, essentially slow releases. So every 3 months they'll release a percentage onto the founders or onto the the investors, whatever. Whereas I don't think this has had it. I don't know 100% what this true story is, but realistically, that price has dropped a lot. It's dropped, you know, we're talking here, this went on release, give or take, on release date, $580, and just gradually just dying off, realistically. And it's one of those things, it happens, you know, but is it an opportunity? Probably. If this bottoms out, it may well be an absolutely great opportunity. But again, it's like anything, not financial advice, do your own research, wait to see what happens overall. If it is that and they've finally dumped the tokens, people will probably buy it up due to good solid, you know, fundamentals of the asset alone. But sometimes it's better off getting those people out. It realistically is, because they tend to milk projects, which kind of sucks, realistically. What is your say on HMRC in UK going after us? Nothing new there, to be honest with you. It's been taxed for a while. It's in all fairness, the UK tax isn't too bad. Isn't too bad. The meaning of angel investors and like early adopters and stuff like that is essentially, you know, people having the big, massive opportunity and they'll plonk a few million in there, get some decent tokens at a discounted price, pre-sale, whatever, and then they can do what they want with it then. That's a problem. They'll have huge amounts. So this is why like research is important. So like on every token, right? On a white paper, there'll always be some sort of token metrics. So the token metrics will give you an outline, like a pie graph, of how many % of the tokens the team have, early investors, obviously development, reserve, all kinds of stuff like that, right? Sometimes a big red flag is usually development tokens in terms of, is it hot, essentially? Like Chainlink is a good example. Chainlink have a lot of tokens on the market, so I can show you this. So Chainlink, obviously pretty, you know, in terms of use case, pretty damn solid. But one of the glaring obvious problems with it is the fact if you go to the holders, all these wallets here are actually team wallets. So all this whole level here, this is literally ready to go onto the market. It's been, you know, all verified and all validated that it is them. They've said it. And that's the biggest thing. Like, this has got a very, very high percentage rate of team and development funds. Some people don't like that. And personally, I don't like that as an investment, because if they want to, they can just go, right, we want to just sell this to raise money to do this. And realistically, yeah, it's good for the ecosystem in terms of, yeah, they can sell it, people can buy it up. But sometimes it doesn't work like that. Sometimes it's like the negative effect. It'll impact the price short term, therefore losing trust of investors, obviously. Whereas some companies, I think RSR is an example, they've got something similar, but they've got a 45-day warning. So they've got to tell everyone within warning, 45 days, right, we are going to release X amount for this, that and the other. Whereas I don't think Chainlink have that protocol. Everyone's different, every coin's different, and realistically, it's all about transparency. If a team and a development fund or whatever are going to be transparent, that's the best thing. But you just don't know until it happens, and that's the scariest thing. And certainly if you get in late on a coin and you've got... Basically, sometimes you'll find as well, you're getting on a coin and it's been out for a year, then all of a sudden the year date kind of runs out, saying that, well, within a year, actually, some of these early investors get some tokens to get them unlocked and they can actually sell them if they wanted to. That scares me. But it's very, very rare now. It doesn't happen all the time, but realistically, it's just one of those things. Good questions. We've got quite a lot of questions. I like Luna. Obviously, Luna's had a little bit of trouble over the last few weeks in terms of... Where's it gone? Have I gone past it? I'll tell you what. We'll use the search bar because everything's upside down back to front at the moment. So Luna obviously had a slight problem in... It has now dropped. This has dropped quite severely. You can see. Possible opportunity here, but I believe that the stable currency side of it had a little bit of an issue. A little bit of mistrust there, certainly with, you know, obviously investors, because the stable currency I think went down to like 91 cents or something, where it should be $1. But this has definitely had a very, very big shakeout. And to be fair though, it's probably a good thing anyways, because it was traveling at a rate of knots. And when you look at the price action of it, it was crazy. Have the fundamentals changed? No. You know, looking at the BTC side of it, very, very aggressive, and that's like me putting that on from a while back, which is crazy. And then you got the obvious, you know, woo, we're in that red zone. So for me, this is like the buy area, like $5, but actually realistically it could even go down to this point. One thing that happens in crypto, this is potential opportunity. This is why we're talking. This is potential altcoins you can buy. If you start seeing stuff like this and the fundamentals have not changed at all, chances are it probably will recover. And some of the greatest opportunities come like this. It's crazy when you think about it, and that's like ridiculous. And let's just say, for example, you were buying at like $22 or $20, $21, $20, and you have not dollar cost averaged your order down yet at this $5 region. You should be, realistically. But always be aware that if Bitcoin sends it lower, it will go much lower. It's quite scary. What is your thought on Yield App? It's very, very decent. I like Yield App. Personally, not going to use it because I've already got my fingers in like the likes of Swissborg, but it's of very, very similar sort of ilk regarding how it works. So what this does, it's just DeFi essentially. It's like a DeFi aggregator in terms of it'll work for you. So you put your money in, it'll go and find the best rates for you, and it'll bring it to you and you get paid. So it'll use all kinds of multiple agencies, and not so much agencies, but different platforms to allow it to work. And this is very, very similar to like the Swissborg. It's good. It's very, very decent. And that's one thing I like about these sort of things. So the one thing about DeFi, obviously, you can do it on your own. So you can use the likes of Aave, you can use the likes of Compound, but you can also use services like this where they'll use a mixture and they'll obviously go and find those rates for you, and they make it very, very simple for you. And that's the great thing about it. So if you are into the likes of potential, for me, I think this is ridiculously undervalued. It's definitely should be, it's one of those ones, it's relatively new. It doesn't have much distribution. But the only element with this is, and I will say this because this is like, it happens on a lot of them, it's competition to exchanges, this sort of thing, because it's going to take away a bit of the volume from exchanges. Sometimes they don't want to list them. So the likes of Swissborg is a great example. Binance may never list them. And like Binance is a huge distribution of obviously volume. Even all the other exchanges have some sort of services like Earn. So most exchanges have it where they've got DeFi protocols, you can do all kinds of stuff. And that's where I find that could be where the grey area could be for stuff like this. Certainly in my opinion anyway, especially if it acts a bit like an exchange as well. Oh, the Hex chart. Oh, let's have a look. Hex is crazy. We'll do USDC. It's crazy, isn't it? Look at that. This works differently though. Like there's definitely metrics and tokenomics within this that allows it to keep going up, which it's good for an investor. But it's one of those things with Hex, you've got to be careful, because as much as it's great now, and I've seen a lot of cryptos that do this, all of a sudden it'll have a bad day. It'll have a bad few weeks and something will go wrong. So the one thing that I'll say to anyone that's invested in these sort of projects, especially with the type of tokenomics that it has, always secure the bag. Always secure it, because the one thing that happens certainly with these types of coins is that even, you can see it here, even in like May time, it gets pretty aggressive, and most coins do get pretty aggressive anyways. But realistically, you've just got to be careful. And this is like, if you say, for example, you're a brand new investor, and you jump on the gravy train and you understand that, oh, markets go up, but you don't have much knowledge in terms of crypto. Some of these are pretty aggressive when you think about it. When you look at the fact of this top here, down to where this bottom is, Hex does this, and this is the one thing. This is why I don't tend to invest in these type of tokens, because there's nothing wrong with it. Don't get me wrong, but you've got to have a very, very, very strong stomach, and it's all due to the tokenomics on it. And the tokenomics work in such a way that it will be very, very aggressive, going up and down. Look at that one there, 84% correction. They're big, they're monsters. But at the end of the day, if you're here for the long term and you've actually got your bag out, crack on, it's great. This is what we're here to do. We're here to make money somehow. And look at that, it's crazy. Even throughout this period of like absolute uncertainty of Bitcoin, it's been on a monstrous run. But as I say, this is a type of coin that, for me, what you do is you buy low, you take your risk bag out, and then you hold it, you play around with it, you do all kinds of cool stuff with it. But you've got to be careful. It's kind of like just investing in certain coins with just it's got pumpermentals. I know the founder is essentially, that's how he described it, pumpermentals. So sometimes you need those sort of coins in the market just to bring things up. But realistically, for me, it's not the sort of thing I'd invest in just because it's crazy. But hey ho, it's one of those things. Hello everyone. There's quite a few people on tonight, which is nice to see. Always good to see. But yeah, realistically, market's scary crazy right now. It's not so much scary, but it's like I think there's a lot of people, in my opinion anyways, I think a lot of people are kind of waiting to see what's happening. I think there's a lot of new people uncertain about what the direction is, and I think a lot of people are realistically, like even the older school people that have been around for a while, like what's going to happen next, because it just seems really, really random. Because you got all this really good bullish news, and then you get the random FUD, and then you get a cocktail of that, and then you got weird price action, then you get random altcoin just popping off like a rocket, like Chili's, for example. We'll talk about Chili's. This again, in terms of the price on this is ridiculous, because I'm not sure if there's any news that's came up, but even if you zoom out a little bit, this has had a monstrous correction over a period of what? Let's just talk about this one from the top. So, oh Jesus. So if we're talking from what, March time, it was nearly $1, and then it went all the way down to the bottom of 16 cents. Jesus, that's crazy. So you got to be careful on this one. But if you're looking at overall, what should we look at here? Should we go from this top to this bottom? You're going to start getting some levels of resistance at some point, obviously around where this point is, where the 382 is. But it looks like a lot of these coins now, certainly on the altcoin side of it, you know, not everyone, everything looks like this, but some of them are starting to show these obviously higher lows. So they're starting to show sign of life, and obviously this has had a massive bounce, and you can kind of see this possible double bottom here, boom, above the EMA, may well continue going up. But we've got the euros and publications and all kinds of advertising, marketing will be good, and as you can kind of probably notice, you know, things are going to get pretty interesting with it. SafeMoon's absolute doggy turd, isn't it? Has anyone got rich off SafeMoon yet? Like, seriously, I don't even know if I can see a chart on it. Probably not. New. That's a different one, isn't it? I don't think I've got a decent chart, mate. Yeah, I don't think, unless that's one. Nah. Not really bothered looking at SafeMoon. Sorry, guys. I do like the one thing, right? And I said this yesterday actually on I said this on my Learning Crypto Zoom yesterday, right? So what I said was, all these coins, right, that have came out of nowhere, these meme coins and stuff like that, they've all got marketing, and what they've done is they've managed to channel that marketing sort of effort into getting people to buy an asset just to make money. And that's the thing with crypto that's crazy. It's obviously an unregulated market. It has certain token metrics to allow that to happen. But that's the scariest thing, that one asset then rolled into a number of assets, got people to make loads of money with very, very limited knowledge of the space very, very quickly, which is scary. It happens obviously sometimes in the stock market. Obviously Wall Street Bet has done that. But this has just been absolute fundamental behavior. So this is why, like, I get a lot of rubbish for it, because a lot of people take the piss out of me because I'm like, oh, look at you, you just go for the fundamentals. But realistically, I'm here to survive. I want to be long term. If you catch it at the wrong time and you're that guy that came in a little bit late and you bought these SafeMoons and obviously Dogecoin, that's Shiba, at the wrong time and it's done a big correction, you're going to feel pretty awful, especially if you're the person that's actually recommended it to someone. It's like, oh, you know, realistically, if it doesn't have any fundamentals to actually allow it to continue, in a bear market, they probably won't survive because there's no revenue mechanism there. The team will probably vanish, and it's happened. It happened quite a lot in 2017 as well, which is pretty scary. But yeah, always good. I'll have a little look at what we got. Sorry, there's a lot of questions. A lot of questions. 1 inch is decent. I've used it a couple of times. It's not too bad. I'll look at Utrust. It's been a while since I looked at Utrust, to be honest with you. Where is the thing gone? I'll look at USD. This is crazy. I'm really annoyed about this. Obviously went to $1, but look at it. You know, this is the thing. Is it the top of the market? Has the market ended? Has the cycle changed? Or what has it done? Because these altcoins have went and did a lot of them, in my opinion anyways, have done blow-offs and top-offs and just blown the top off things, and this is an example of it. Now, if you're looking at this overall and you're thinking, right, I can probably catch some more here, you probably could. If this is going to continue going up, i.e. once it's bottomed out, and I don't think it will yet, you know, I'm looking at this, it's not looking great. This bit of structure is not, you know, yes, we've got this, and then obviously it didn't happen, so we're back to square one basically. So you've got to kind of wait for this structure to start publishing obviously higher lows, and then a higher high will eventually appear after that, and then above the moving average. So you may want to wait on this one if you're looking to invest, just in case, because realistically it could go lower. Like that could actually go back down to 17 cents, maybe even lower than that, which would be scary. And even today we're starting to see a mini little market dump today. Not the greatest of days at the moment, is it, boys and girls? It's just one of those things, isn't it? Opinion on Matic. I covered Matic like 3 days ago in a video. I think Matic's going to $1 at least in this certain. That's the analysis. I think we're going to go to at least $1, which is a key level. But also, don't rule out this like $44. I think it's between 50 cents and 36 cents if that happens. That's a long way down though, so don't just bank on that one. I'm still holding on Federal Reserve, of course. It's actually around where I bought it, so I'm not really that bothered about it, to be honest with you. You know, it's one of those things. The chart's pretty rubbish on here. But the market sentiment, this is the thing with crypto, right? Not everything has, like, you know, it's not just one asset that's died, realistically. It's everything. You know, we're looking at a lot of coins here. I've just looked at Uterus. Crazy. It was $1 not too long ago. It's now 28 cents. You know, and Federal Reserve, again, another example, was over $1.70. It's now 16 cents. Got manipulated a little bit in terms of the exploitation of the DeFi platform, certainly. But, you know, we're looking now, and this is why I'm talking this video title, Best Altcoins to Buy in 2021. Realistically, we might be at a point where it's very, very close to start getting some nice, solid orders in, because we're looking at even RSR. It's crazy when you think about this. This is like look at that. You know, are we potentially going to get another opportunity to buy all these coins again where we thought we missed the boat? Potentially, yeah. Huge, horrible correction, but realistically, we've got to be careful. We can't just go all in now. We've got to be careful. We've got to be tactical about it, because, you know, believe it or not, this could actually drop a lot lower. Like look at RSR. For me, I've said it a few times. If you miss the boat on RSR and you're thinking of buying below 4 cents or even below 3 cents where it is right now, the chances are you've probably got a much better chance, because I know there would have been people buying up here easily, like 9, 10 cents easily, because that it was still at that point pretty undervalued realistically in the course of the market. It was still only like $1 billion in, like, it wasn't even $1 billion in market cap back then. Scary when you think about it compared to what it is now. It's unbelievable. So yeah, it's pretty interesting, certainly. But as I say, it's not just one thing. But at the minute, Bitcoin is currently slaughtering Satoshis. Look at the Satoshi pairs; they're just absolutely dropping off a cliff right now on quite a lot of them. KSM as an example. Obviously, Parachain hype probably going to be dying down a little bit over the next few days, and it'll probably kick off again. You know, a lot of BTC pairs are just looking pretty ropey, which is never a good sign. Certainly when you start looking at the fact of the dominance chart going, oop. Thoughts on KSM? Very, very good, actually. I do like it. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of interest over Parachain's got, what, five Parachain auctions coming up, so we'll see what happens. It may just, we'll see how it goes. We just don't know what's going to happen. But yeah, RSR looks pretty solid for me, fundamentals wise. I've already spoken about Matic. It's a good coin. But this is the thing. Scared money doesn't make money, does it? You've got to bite the bullet. You've got to do your research. You've got to buy low. You know, someone just mentioned XRP. I think XRP, right? XRP is an absolute wild coin. It's unbelievable, right? So I personally don't like it, but this is not looking healthy. If you're looking at the daily time frame and you're thinking, I don't know what that arrow's doing. So we've obviously got this high, got this lower low, lower high, lower low, right? We're probably going to, obviously, we have, let's be honest here. If we're looking at that level there, so this bottom, hit the 382. And for me, if this is obviously going to drop off 65 cents, we're probably going to hit 37 cents. You know, if you're looking at this may get pretty damn ugly if you're an XRP. However, the one thing that could flip this like a switch is that lawsuit, that SEC case. But if the market is bearish, it's just going to follow the pattern, and that's the thing. Even though we're starting to see a small reversal here in this little continuation, like accumulation phase essentially, where it could continue going up, it's still not looking very confident in terms of where it can go, because there's only so many times you can actually hit support and then it will obviously fail. And if people are like jumping out of altcoins to go into Bitcoin, well, this is probably going to drop off like a cliff anyways, because people are going to shit themselves. Certainly if that BTC pair goes down, because whatever happens to Bitcoin, well, this will probably do whatever it wants anyways. It doesn't matter. Just got to be careful. Dear me. I'm going to hide you. Don't spam the chat, please. You look like a dickhead. Anyways, moving on. So yeah, with XRP, it's one of those ones where, like that, it can just flip like a yeah, it'll just flip, be crazy. Oh my god, really, guys? If you keep spamming the chat, I'm just gonna ignore you, so you can't get in the chat anymore. Which is always good fun. Anyways, other coins to mention. You could probably argue the likes of Theta. Looks pretty damn solid. Now, the one thing about this one, this is obviously showing a sign of life. This is what we want to see. We want to see signs like this of life. The biggest problem with it, though, you could probably see this already. How reactive will the support level be? Obviously, that's an old move. It obviously did the first move correctly. This is what we want to see on altcoins. Not many altcoins look like this, so that's the biggest problem. So if you're looking for a reference point, look for something like this, where it's actually published a big impulse, it's published a nice level of like a support level, higher low, happy days, and then you can get that higher high eventually, then you can start getting a little bit more excited regarding them. I don't provide any liquidity, no. I'm too tight for that. I don't really kind of like to just hold my stuff. Makes life so much easier. Guys, by the way, hit the like button. It helps. I need more likes on my videos. I think YouTube's broken the algorithm, or like maybe manipulating the system a little bit in terms of how many people actually see altcoins or Bitcoin videos or crypto videos, which is kind of weird. But yeah, I don't know if anyone's actually worried about this market dumping at the moment. I'm not. I think it's still due its course, and I've mentioned this regarding this bit of analysis. If this level is going to be a support and we actually find a bit of rhythm over the weekend and we publish a high, it may well turn the market completely. So don't be too worried. What's that question? Can you refresh me on your feelings on ADA? Cardano. I'll be honest, I'm not the biggest lover of it. It's all right. I think I personally prefer Polkadot. That's just me, just, you know, having an opinion and liking it more. The reason why I have that opinion is because I think the problem with Cardano is it's relatively slow in terms of getting its stuff out there. And it's like, yeah, it's great on paper when you look at it. But for me, like, if we go into a bear market, for example, right, and they don't have smart contracts fully out, or they don't have the scaling out or whatever, it's just going to be one of those things where it's like, oh, you know, it's really disappointing, because I invested in Cardano in 2017. I sold it, and then it melted. Bought it again. I was like, yeah. And then sold and took profit again. But when I look at it on the outside looking in, I don't really want to hold Polkadot and Cardano. I'd rather hold one or the other. And from what development-wise is already out, Polkadot's in front. Realistically, it is in front, and that's what I'd rather hold. But in my opinion, if this goes down in the bear market, it's probably one of the best money-making coins anyways, because it always will go up. It always gets eyeballs. Charles can market it properly. You just got to be careful in a bear market. You don't want to be that person that bought it up here and then holds it until it dies off, because it will. Like if smart contracts aren't out and they put development on the back burner for a bit and they just sit it out a little bit and they go quite quiet, because most projects do in the bear market. That's where the problem is for investors, and you lose faith. So you've got to be careful with any coins like this. So to be fair, like, they always will go in a bear market, they will go quiet. You've already probably noticed it anyways, with a lot of coins have kind of gone a little bit quiet, apart from a few obvious ones. But the thing is, even with good news in like in a pretty boring, dull market, it doesn't really pump a coin, because the sentiment isn't there, the hype isn't there. People don't want to buy because they're not making money, and that's a worse thing, you know. But that's overall my opinion, and I know some people love Cardano, but for me, I like to invest on what the product is. You know, it hasn't got smart contracts yet. Until that happens, then I'll probably be, there's not many projects on it neither. So you just got to think of that one. And this is where like people got burnt in the bear market of 2017. Speaking from experience, same with Ethereum. People are like, oh, Ethereum is the best thing since sliced bread. But realistically, what happened with Ethereum was a lot of coins then migrated off Ethereum and built their own blockchains. Therefore, it led to its downfall down to $82, dollars. Again, same with Cardano. It went from $1.40 down to like 2 cents. It's not good. That's not ideal. That's what you don't want. But for me, it's all about product. If a product can have utility, if a product can obviously generate revenue throughout any market period, it's going to be fine. But it's still, the whole industry is the same though. It's a very, very immature space. It's like some of these altcoins have only been around 4 or 5 years, and that's like the most experienced. Some of them have only been out for like 6 months. Some of them have only been out for a year. You got to be careful in terms of where you put your money, because in a bull market, a lot of the stuff is somewhat fabricated. Not so much with Cardano, but for anything, they'll build partnerships out of anything just to get things to go up. They'll do a rebrand just to make things look nice. They'll do all kinds of stuff just to create money. Some of those projects are not ideal, and they will show their true colours essentially in a bear market when all the developers leave and they run away or whatever. But that isn't, by the way, this example, by the way. I'm just saying there's most coins. That can happen, certainly, if things just get put on the back burner and forgotten about them. They come back and magically it's like, whoa, hi, we're back. Scary. It is scary. But if you don't like that opinion, fair enough. But why do I prefer Polkadot? I prefer it because I like the mechanism for the bonding, for the parachains. I think that's really, really good. Getting the bidding war of people that want it. I like the fact that anyone can plug into it as well. So even if you've got your own mainnet or your own blockchain, you can plug in and get a substrate. Whereas with Ethereum, for example, you can't do that. You're built on Ethereum, crack on, right? If you want to build your own blockchain, you've got to kind of build your own blockchain elsewhere. You can't just like interoperability with it. Whereas with Polkadot, you can build your own blockchain on there, or you can plug it in anyways and just get the benefits from it. So that's good. Obviously, the staking rewards are better as well. Very, very good. There's a decent lockup on that, so it's not going to be as volatile. There's all kinds of good stuff with it, but that's my personal opinion. And yeah, I also like the branding. I think it's pretty neat and tidy. So 400 people in here, which is pretty awesome. But yeah, to be honest with you, I think Cardano will be fine. I think it will be, but I think it's just too slow. I think like it's been out for so long, it just seems to be taking a long time. That's my overall opinion on it. That could be a great buy order. Should we make that one red? Yeah. I love the comments on here. It's great fun. Gavin Woods also like is from very, very close to where I live as well, which is kind of scary. It's very, very. He's a very, very wise person. Very, very geeky though. If you watch the Polkadot, like the build videos, like I think there's 2 videos out, really like proper, like just geeks, aren't they? It's funny. But yeah, we'll see what happens. But for me, like, if people are late in this market and you've always wanted to buy a certain coin and you're looking at these and they're like 60% down from the tops, it's not a bad place to put a little bit of capital into something, especially if you bought high. Like, I know people that were jumping in on certain coins. Luna's a great example of this. Like, you can probably look on Twitter and you'd be like, people buying at $16, $14, thinking it was the best dip ever. But scary. Unbelievably scary. Oh, someone mentioned a cash network. That's decent. There was another crash the other day on, what do you call it? This is a rubbish chart, by the way. I do apologise. There's not much data there. Look at that. It's scary. Yeah, so Akasha Network aims to be that kind of platform where it's decentralized for like cloud servers and stuff like that. It's pretty decent. Like, I think this has got a very good use case in the long term. It's nowhere near ready yet, and you can probably see the volumes relatively. What the fuck's happened there? The volume's pretty scary. But again, these are the sort of things that could make a lot of people a lot of money if you involve very, very quickly. or very, very early. So we often see elements of problems with, not so much censorship, but just issues with servers and, AWS and stuff like that just going to shit, basically. And this is going to be, aiming to solve that sort of issue. Pretty decent, to be fair, but it's not ready yet, essentially, like most. EOS, bit rubbish in it. Is EOS even still around? EOS has done nothing, has it? The thing is, right, I just don't get how this is so vastly popular. Like, even in this bullish market, it's not really set the world on fire, has it, realistically? It's got all the tech, it's got all the elements to it, but it just doesn't have the minerals or the hype, and that's the problem with it. Like, you look at it, you think hype in... That was in a bear market, by the way, just to put that out there. Obviously it dies, and then it brought some hype back, and then it just fell off a cliff, where a lot of coins were eclipsing these sort of levels. Certainly they've been around for a while. You look at Cardano as an example, you can look at Ethereum, all kinds of stuff like that, even Zilliqa essentially. But this hasn't really came close, and it's like, what's happened? So maybe you need to look into that. But I think the founder or the CEO left, I'm not sure. So need to look into it, because I know they were doing a social network that kind of got binned or whatever has happened with it. So yeah, it's interesting. Really, for me, you've got to understand price action. Sometimes price action gives you a great gauge of what a project is doing. It's just one of those things. Of course, I'm better than BitBoy. BitBoy replied to an email I received the other day. So some coin did a promotion, like basically an email. Can you promote our project, please? It's rubbish. It's like a $6 million market cap coin. It's funny because they didn't do the carbon kind of copy. So like every person's contact within that email was like displayed. You just got the BitBoy marketing team going, right, yeah, we're interested. Oh, for fuck's sake. So yeah, that could be fun. I don't know much about caps, to be fair. I know Andy talks quite a lot about it. I need to look into it. Hedra's decent, I like Hedra. It's one of those projects that Hitchball. This is a decent project, There's so many good projects out there. It's all about adoption, and that's the thing. Like, obviously, this is what you want the likes of EOS to do, like where it had a little bit of a flurry and then boom, but that just didn't happen. So overall, it's scary. Could you explain the process of borrowing loans in DeFi? It's basically you basically put the collateral up front. So you give the collateral. There's usually like a liquidation. I think it's 80%. I'm not sure what the gravity is of it. But you give them collateral in terms of the borrowings. They'll give you some money back for it. And yeah, if the price dramatically falls, you can lose it. So you just got to be careful a little bit in terms of overdoing it, realistically. But I think I've never actually done it before, but you tend to get some numbers and figures to kind of figure it out for you in terms of how much risk's on the table. But it depends what you're borrowing. But for me, I don't really tend to use that sort of system. I like to supply and get some money. I like to supply to the market, but I don't really borrow to the market, essentially. Promoting feelings. It's true. It's hype. It's hype. It's greed. Gets people in. Pi Network is, in my opinion, it's a scam. It's been around for 4 years, banging the drum that academics from Stanford University are around it. It's got 1 million plus users, yet it doesn't have a price. Yeah, I don't believe that for a second. Polkadot is a one where, well, it's like anything, right? This entire market is governed by what Bitcoin does and the market sentiment. If the market sentiment is gone, expect everything to go lower. But this may not be as bad, realistically, as other coins, because it has a solid use case, it has a solid staking mechanism, it has a solid, reason for people to buy the token, and a good, economic kind of structure within the market. So all the validators, obviously, the money will go into the Polkadot ecosystem, it will get used for development, it will continue. The more projects that use Polkadot, the token flow will increase. Therefore, it should be more stable, whereas some coins that are leveraging these systems are probably not. So this is why I like to buy the likes of Polkadot, Silica as an example as well. Most likely Ethereum. They should hold price better if projects are still running and using them. However, that being said, Ethereum didn't really transpire as that in the last bear market, so it depends on how it goes. It's, you know, Polkadot's obviously untested. It's never been in a bear market before. You could probably argue, you know, quite a lot of tokens are the same. So risk management, isn't it? Just basically, the rule of thumb is don't go all in, or don't be silly. Don't buy high. Just wait and chill out. Just relax. Oh yeah, data mining. Oh, cheeky. Yeah, Pi Network's a bit. It's a bit weird. I mean, why should you get free money on your phone when you can? You know, nothing's for free in life. When do you think it will be stable? To be honest with you, well, Bitcoin's relatively stable at the moment. If you're looking at that, it's relative. Apart from the obvious dip the other day, it's not massively crazy. Obviously, we've had a few little death days, but it's been pretty boring today. But the whole market's a bit shaky right now. The one thing I'm more concerned about over anything right now, not so much Bitcoin, is the total 2 chart. How many people are going to be flushing their hands in fear? It's all fear at the minute for me, realistically. Ooh, how many one bridging with Bitcoin will be decent? Need more bridges with Bitcoin, essentially, I think. Let's have a look at XTZ. What is XTZ, mate? Oh, XTC even. Still not even a thing. Is it? Don't know. You're making them up, mate. You have a serious question if it's okay. Well, it depends what it is. Bitcoin's never been free. You had to mine it. Or you had to use some sort of factor it, which wasn't too cost incentive back then. Whereas now, technically, you can't get anything for free unless you're doing something, whether that is a bounty, whether that is for work, whether that is staking, but you need to invest in it to get that. You know, realistically, the chances of getting life-changing crypto these days is very, very slim. Whereas if you're looking at hindsight, yeah, great, Bitcoin is obviously, yeah, free, but, you know, not everyone took the opportunity. How many people would have been doing the free mining situation on their laptop, essentially getting like 2 or 3 Bitcoin every week and now winning? You could probably imagine a lot of people would have been selling way before this point, essentially, overall. There's a lot of comments, which is good to see. Tezos, right, come on. Tezos is another one that's like, it reminds me of EOS, where it's just all the hype, all the stuff about it, and then it just went, you know, even, you can probably tell, it's not had the greatest of, even the run-up hasn't been that good. It's been, although I will say this, I've always said this and maintained this, you could probably, yeah, you can see some old analysis actually from freaking ages ago. This has always been, this is crazy how undervalued this is. This is the BTC pair, and this is just like a monster dump, and it's just risen up a little bit, but, you know, I was looking at this to do this, basically, to go from this like low up to here, make a huge chunk, but it hasn't. It's just been a bit floppy. So yeah. Do you sleep with a hat on? No. Can't. I don't wear the hat that often, to be fair. Only for this. Should we have a look at, have a look at Frontier. We'll look at, where is it? Where the fuck? USD. Bloody hell. Log scale's a bit, that's kind of broken it. That big massive spike has broken it. Bear with me, because they've broken it. Let's have a little look. That one just weird, man. I would do that, but meh, looks like shit. Can I do Engine Coin? I can. Bear with me. I like Engine Coin, it's very decent. I think the app is very clean. One of the cleanest apps in crypto, in my opinion. Like anything, very, very nice healthy dip. You know something, this is like one of the ones that actually doesn't look, you know, it looks pretty aggressive on the weekly, but we can say this with anything realistically when you think about it, right? And this is why we're thinking, well, what can we buy? You can buy pretty much most things. Interesting area. Just got to be careful. Don't want you. The one thing that, in my opinion, what I'd wait for, and certainly on the higher time frame, wait for like this could be the sort of the sign that you're looking for, where you got this bottom and you got this like top here. Wait for this sort of period, and if you go back into like the daily time frame or the 2-day, it'll look more obvious. So if I remove, bear with me, we'll remove that one for now, just to go back in time. What you're waiting for essentially, even on the daily time frame on this, if you're thinking, right, it's in a massive clanger, it's dropped like a stone, what you're waiting for essentially is this sort of pattern to sort of appear, which is basically a higher low. What you want to kind of see is, has it got a decent level of support, and does it have confluence with a lot of things? It does. It's on the 618 level. It looks pretty okay realistically, but you got to look left as well. It has been some sort of situation where it has been a support or resistance, but you're waiting for it to kind of basically recover. And that's the thing, like realistically what could happen, well, if it does go up to that top level, it's like a 2-3 times your money essentially, but it's all that chance. But if you were like, the one thing that I'll say to anyone is, if you were looking at buying up here and like, right, engine coin looks great, I'm going to buy in that, and you didn't, and you're looking at this, you should be looking at this thinking, oh cushy, you know, I can get basically how many more coins more? You can get an extra 50% more for the same price that you're going to put in anyways a couple of weeks ago. Makes more sense. So yeah, you got to look for it. But when you look at that, it's had a pop off and it's formed at the moment higher low. So yeah, you got to look at these, and obviously we've got a nice little RSI pattern as well. Basically a nice bullish divergence. So possible reversal on a lot of altcoins look like this, but not all of them. So you got to be quite selective, which I showed before, which is always good. How low do I think Polygon's going to go? I've already mentioned it before, was $1 potentially is one of the levels. So that's the BTC side. So this is kind of like a trade on the BTC side. Is it? Yes, it was. Essentially what happened here was this level hit there. We bounced all the way up and then we've melted basically. It looks pretty disgusting. But we're not looking at that one. We're looking at USD. So with this, similar sort of situation. If you do like this low here to this high, for me, realistically, you've got $1 there, which is what the first level that we're probably going to hit soon, which has obviously got a nice little level of resistance. It's got a support level, and obviously this level here. If it goes below $1, it's probably going to hit this where this wick was, 75 cents, which has got obviously confluence with this. If the worst case scenario, by the way, is obviously down here where this grey box is, which is where this extension is. So yeah, just be careful. You know, you got to look, even if you zoom out and you look at like the weekly time frame or something on any asset, by the way, and if you start seeing like levels of confluence, something like that, you know, it looks kind of obvious. You know, you're going to start seeing things even like this level. You just got to be ready and waiting just in case those levels do hit. Does it make sense to wait for a bear market to get into untested projects? I'd wait personally, because you want to get the best opportunity. For me, if you're looking at the dominance chart and you're looking at the BTC pair's been high, have some Bitcoin, sit in that because it's tried and tested. Keep your portfolio in Satoshis really high. Wait for that dominance to trickle up. If that does happen, cool, you can just buy some coins in BTC and then you can sell it into Bitcoin. Not worry too much about the USD prices. But realistically, like anything, it's like a lot of things are going to be untested in this bull to bear market if that does happen. But realistically, we may not even get a bear market. This might be the correction. It may actually end over the next few weeks, or we may continue going back up again. It just depends on how you want to perceive it. We have been dumping for 2 months now, essentially, for most assets. And the one thing that we've obviously been talking about on a lot of videos is obviously when you start getting these sort of situations where it's pulled all the way back up, it's formed a lower high, you know, you should be really pulling the plug and trying to get some kind of profits. But realistically, if you were in, you know, Matic from like not even from April, from like, you know, early start of the year, and you've not taken anything off the table, you're doing investing wrong. You've got to take profit, realistically. But you know, the one thing that I will say is if you are in early and you're not worried too much about it, You know, realistically, if you look at the BTC side of it, it looks pretty heavy. But, you know, the thing is, if the Bitcoin dominance chart does, and this is going to sound horrible, but let's just say the Bitcoin dominance chart does actually go all the way up to, say, 60%. It wouldn't shock me in the slightest if this got like an 80% correction from the current market value and goes all the way down here again and then starts again. Because that could happen. That's the BTC pair of any asset doesn't really correlate with anything other than the BTC nature. If Bitcoin goes boom like that to the moon, altcoins will get slaughtered anyways. It'll look great on your portfolio in one way because your USD prices will be going up, so this will probably recover in USD. If Bitcoin obviously publishes like a 2x from here and goes back up to where it was in terms of all-time high and beyond, every altcoin is going to look great. It's going to be like, yeah, amazing, but your BTC pairs are going to be looking horrible, which will be fun for me anyways if I'm buying them anyways in Bitcoin. And just looking to create some more wealth, which would be nice. Shiba versus Dogecoin, all the way. Anyways, I'm going to leave now. It's been an hour, a long hour, and it's a weekend, and I need to go to the shops and get some food for the weekend, because it's a weekend. I need to get some nice bits and bobs. I do appreciate everyone coming out, though. It's nice. I'll be obviously here probably next Friday as well. But realistically, the best altcoins to buy right now, quite a lot of them look quite good and tasty. However, we've got to be careful. Don't go all in. Simple. Do your research. Obvious. But the one thing is, regardless, if you were looking to buy 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks ago and you're not thinking about buying now or dollar cost averaging, well, you know, realistically you should be looking at something because, you know, one way or another, if it bounces at these support levels from this massive correction, guess what? You're going to do well. If it goes even lower, you're probably going to be even happier because some people are quite happy with these low prices, believe it or not. Not everyone is though. Anyways,